Hello, guys. Welcome to. Well, I don't know what this is. This is kind of an offshoot of the podcast I've been doing with my friend Becky. We've been watching Star Wars. We watched Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker last night, and since the podcast is still on hiatus, kind of, I'm gonna do like a short, like review my thoughts on the movie. Nothing too you know I'm not gonna be too critical or too I don't know, too analytic about it, but like I'm gonna give just my impressions of the movie, and that's it. So yeah, we watched it last night, so I'm gonna give like just a short spoiler-free overall uh, thoughts first, and then after that we're gonna talk about spoilery stuff. So first of all, the movie was 2 hours 21 minutes long. It felt a little bit long to me. You know, there were some sections that felt a little bit dragged out and stuff like that, but not too much. I did have fun. I did enjoy like the experience, so it wasn't too bad. Although some people I talked to after the movie complained that it was too long, but I guess a couple of those people didn't really weren't really Star Wars fans, so I don't know if that's like a problem for most people or not. But yeah, I didn't get bored during the movie, which was a positive, so it's okay. Uh, I didn't like stuff that I liked was, yeah, it was an enjoyable overall experience. I didn't have any like big expectations of the movie, so that was fine. Um, I didn't like the pacing of some parts dragged out, as I mentioned. Some parts were like uh, some scenes were kind of weird. There was some kind of weird editing, kind of like they cut one scene. They had like two characters had a conversation like about something, and then next scene two characters had another conversation at the same place, especially the beginning there where they were getting ready to leave. They were saying farewell. I think a bunch of those scenes were completely unnecessary, and the cuts made it kind of feel weird. It seems like they kind of tacked on at the end. Oh, we need to film like a farewell scene between these two characters, and we need to say, go get him or something like that. It felt kind of. I didn't really enjoy that. And in a couple of other spots in the movie, there were those kinds of scenes. Kind of like felt they, finished the movie and then we need to add another scene in between these two scenes, stuff like that. As I mentioned before during the podcast and stuff like other places, I'm not a huge fan of this new Star Wars series, so that's like not really secret. But overall, I kind of enjoyed the ending. There were some problems, there were some things that I didn't like, but overall, I mean, it was an enjoyable movie experience. I didn't expect anything great, and I wasn't disappointed. It was fine. So yeah, now moving on to some details. So this is like the spoiler section. So if anybody hasn't seen the movie, just turn this off, click off, watch the movie, and then come back. So I'm gonna, warn you once again, spoilers incoming. Actually, there's not too many. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do some spoilers. So don't watch anymore if you haven't seen the movie. So yeah, basically, I'm gonna like do a short recap of the movie. So the movie basically starts out with Kylo Ren. I think it starts out, or at the very beginning, Kylo Ren is searching for some artifact. He does some fighting, kills some guys in some kind of forest or something. He gets like this artifact, and the artifact leads him to some kind of weird planet where you have like a building type of building pyramid. I don't know what that is. And turns out, Palpatine is alive. Yeah, whatever. I guess probably somebody collected all the Dragon Balls to resurrect him or something. I don't know. I know how he is alive, but he is alive somehow. It's turns out that Palpatine was pulling all the strings. Of course, he actually genetically engineered Snoke or something. That was kind of weird. I wasn't like a, you know, I guess it's okay, but whatever. Uh, Basically, I guess Snoke wasn't such a great bad guy. I mean, I didn't feel Snoke at the very beginning of the movie anyway. Of the first two movies, I was like, yeah, I'm not digging this Snoke, and I guess other people also weren't digging Snoke, so that was kind of annoying. Uh, but yeah, basically he finds Palpatine. Palpatine offers him like to be the Emperor. He just has to kill Rey. But I guess we can see at the very beginning Kylo is kind of still like reluctant. He doesn't. He kind of says he wants to kill Rey, but he really doesn't. So yeah, that was okay. That was kind of interesting. He has like an inner conflict at the very beginning. So we are gonna see that play out. Then we have, of course, then Kylo has to, of course, show how he is still kind of like Darth Vader. He has to choke some guys, and he's not only gonna choke them, he's gonna like choke him and like put him up against the ceiling or something like that. Uh, I think that's again just Kylo covering for his like he's not really really into this. He's just covering basically uh, for his kind of his inner struggle that's going on. But yeah, basically he found Palpatine. Palpatine gave him some kind of type of orders. Palpatine raised like a bunch of ships. I don't know where those ships came from, but he has a bunch of ships. I guess he was pulling the strings, so he was siphoning assets from the First Order or something and like making a bunch of destroyers in secret. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but whatever. And he raises them using the Force, or was she just doing that for dramatic effect? I know there was a bunch of destroyers, and stuff. Then we had what do we have? Then we have like Rey. Basically, Rey was just training like in the forest. She had a bunch of rocks and she was levitating and like doing all this stuff, and then she kind of goes a little bit nuts because of Kylo. Kylo was kind of, you know, uh, communicating with her secretly or something. I don't know. And then she, gets angry and she cuts down the trees and she almost like kills the robot. What's his name? BB-8 or something. But yeah, that's kind of like a foreshadowing of her, like her struggle that we have. Then what do we have next? Chewbacca is still playing chess. There's some joking with Poe and Finn and whatever, but the real start of the like storyline for the rebellion is that there is a spy in the First Order. He gives them some information, which is of course downloaded to R2D2, and they kind of have like the space battle, whatever, and they bring the information back to whatever planet the Rey is on, the lush green forest planet, but that is not Endor. I think it's not Endor. It might be Endor. But yeah, they showed the Ewoks later, which was kind of weird, which because we didn't see the Ewoks the whole movie, and then at the end there were Ewoks for some reason. But yeah, anyway, basically with that information and Rey was searching through books of Luke Skywalker. They find out that they can find the Sith homeworld using some artifact, the same type of artifact that Kylo Ren found. So they go on a mission to do that. Then after that, that's like the whole setup, and after that, like the movie goes on, with that type of stuff. They're just basically searching for the information. They go to one planet, like a desert planet, where they fight some guys. They meet Lando Calrissian. Uh, Rey cuts down Kylo Ren's, what do you call it? Rey cuts down Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. and they fight, and then Rey heals a worm for some reason, and I guess I know why she heals it, to show she has like this power, this new power or whatever. And you know, then they move to another planet because they need to get the information out of C-3PO's head because he cannot translate the Sith language. Then they move to another planet where they have to find the actual Gizmo, and Rey fights Kylo Ren. Then they go back to the forest planet. Then they move finally to the set planet where they fight. So that's the basic, you know, progression of the story. Uh, yeah, I basically like a very short recap of the story of the movie. I didn't really reveal too much information of the about that. But what I wanted to talk about now is my thoughts on like the movie, like the visuals and like the storyline of the movie and stuff like that. And like the movie is definitely beautiful. You get like a lot of like sweeping shots of like the planets. You get a lot of like action sequences that are actually pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of action sequences in general. So that was kind of fun. I enjoyed, you know, the action, the feel of the story. Lightsaber battles between Rey and Kylo Ren were actually pretty great. They were like they were not kind of like the dancing, flowing, sweeping moves like in the prequels. They were like doing a lot of pirouettes and like jumping around and like, you know, kind of like dancers. But in this movie, it feels like they are actually doing like a medieval type of like sword fighting where they have like really like like, as they say, hefty, really labored, you know, movements and stuff like that. And I mean, it kind of makes sense because they are not really like, none of them were actually trained to fight in the old style of the like lightsaber battles and the old Jedi ways. Um, who was like Luke Skywalker? He wasn't. I mean, he was kind of trained, but by Obi-Wan Kenobi, but not that much, and Yoda. So he didn't get that much training, and then Leia also got even less training, and then it kind of watered down to, you know, all of them having like a different style of combat than in the prequels, which is okay. I like that. It kind of makes sense in the lore, so I enjoy that. Uh, what else? Talking about the props and the CGI in the movie, like it was kind of a mix. You got a bunch of props, you got some CGI too, but I think in this movie, like they were mostly mixed together well. So you could get a lot of props, or some even some aliens that were puppets, stuff like that. But you did get some CGI aliens and other and spaceships and stuff like that as well. So it was a good mix. I didn't really mind it. I don't know if Carrie Fisher actually filmed any scenes before she died, because I'm not really sure. There was a lot of Carrie Fisher in this movie, much more than I expected, and I don't know if that was CGI or not. I wasn't. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the detail. I was like, you know, I was just enjoying the movie, so I wasn't really paying attention to her face, if it's like CGI or not. If somebody else knows, please tell me in the comments. That would be kind of interesting to know if she filmed any scenes for this or not. I'm not sure. But that was kind of interesting, because like there was much more Carrie Fisher than I expected. What else did I? Yeah, talking about the lore, the whole like world building and lore. It was a little bit, as I said here in my notes. It felt kind of all over the place. Like uh, I don't know, like one point, and maybe I'm wrong here. I always assumed that the core worlds were kind of free of the Empire, free of the First Order, that they did actually uh, gain some independence and have some. But I guess, like in the first movie, Starkiller Base killed a lot of those core worlds, so maybe that was like the reason why it's in disarray. I'm not sure. But I always thought that the core worlds, or a lot of the core worlds, were still free and not occupied by the First Order. But yeah, I guess might have been wrong on that. I don't know. So I'm not gonna criticize my criticize the movie because of my own mistakes and my own you know inability to remember the lore. So, but what did bother me a little bit was a lot of the inconsistencies in the magic system of the movie. So the magic system was like really all over the place. In the previous movies, I mean, they did do some Deus Ex Machina stuff. They did do some some of that like resolution the using the oh force or whatever, through the movies, but not that much. And in this movie, like, Ray can do so much stuff. So we have like Ray and Kylo fighting, and for some reason they can use their force or their force link to teleport. They don't teleport really, but some stuff gets carried over. So Kylo Ren takes her necklace. I don't know if that happened in the previous movie. I don't remember if there was any physical transportation of stuff, which is kind of, you know, I mean, I get that they have like a mental link and they can communicate with each other, but now they can carry over stuff. So Ray's necklace, Kylo grabs it, and then Ray transports like Darth Vader's helmet to the planet. It's kind of weird. I didn't quite like that. I don't know how that works and why that would work. That seems a bit weird. And the healing thing also. So how Rey can heal now? Jedi were never able to heal, I think, or at least in the previous movies. Maybe in the expanded universe, in some of the books, they did do that, but like we don't really know how Rey suddenly gets the ability to heal. There was no indication. She just like uh, goes to that planet, and there's that like worm creature, and it just heals. Rey just heals it, and that's it. And like she says, "Oh, I transferred some of my life force." I guess that was important for at the end, you know, Kylo Ren being able to do the same thing, and she, of course, she healed him after that. So I guess they kind of had to introduce that somehow. But like, I guess I would have liked to have some kind of like maybe Leia teaching her how to do this, and she would be trying to heal and she couldn't. Like there could have been a storyline with that. They could have established it a little bit better, I think. But yeah, that's my opinion. Also, yeah, Palpatine can possess another person's soul if he dies, or maybe that was kind of like more. He will not possess her soul, but if she kills him in anger, then she will turn to the dark side, and that will be a victory for him. He will kind of join with her as a Sith or something like that. So I guess I don't hate that. It's not me. I'm not sure what the meaning of that was supposed to be, but it's not okay. That's fine. That part is fine. But it's kind of weird. Also, he can drain somebody's power now. He can like literally zap 1,000 ships up in the air. Of course, that's maybe since he drained Kylo Ren's and Rey's power. I guess they have a lot of power or something, but still seems kind of weird. I didn't like that part. Although it looked cool, but I didn't like that he could do that, like from literally like zapping all the ships in from the air. So yeah. Moving on to characters. There was like, yeah, the characterization in this movie wasn't great. I wasn't a fan. So we had like all those side characters. So let's start with the side characters. So first, Rose. Rose didn't really have much to do in this movie, and I guess probably because of the whole thing with uh, the fan backlash. That nobody liked her character. stuff like that. So probably they kind of dialed down her character. She had a few lines. She didn't have much to do when it comes to character developments. Mostly like lines about, oh, let's fight, let's do this. She talks to Finn. She did have like one or two scenes with Finn. Oh yeah, we're gonna win, we're gonna fight, whatever. Uh, you know, I don't know. Like I guess probably that's why they didn't really, have a lot to do with her character. Then we had a kind of funny. We had like this guy. What's his name? Matt. I don't remember his name in the movie, but he was like Matt Parkman in. Okay, this guy, Matt Parkman in from Heroes. So he was in the previous movies too. Not much to do. He was kind of, I guess, an important character. No character development with him. It's kind of, I would have liked to see his character, and of course, even worse, Dominique Monaghan. I don't remember his last name. Dominique. He was like Mary, of course, in Lord of the Rings, and he was in Lost. He is like pretty good, famous actor. I would have liked to see more, you know, more stuff with him. Not just, he was basically, both of them were relegated to being like minor characters in the background. Just standing there in like the group scenes or having like one or two lines about something. I guess maybe they were just fans of Star Wars and just wanted to be in it. And they were like, oh, we're not gonna say no to famous actors like this, even though we didn't really plan for their characters. So maybe that was it. And even worst of all, Lupita Nyong'o, or what's her name, Maz, whatever, blah blah blah. She was also like a minor character here. And what I really hated about this character is you have Lupita Nyong'o, who is like a really really great actress, like super famous right now, like great, and they just gave her like a alien role, like they didn't even show her on screen. I was kind of mad about that because you could have had a really good character with her instead of just giving her a voice role. They could have just hired another voice actress for Maz's role and had Lupita on screen. But okay, whatever. That's just my personal preference. But yeah, those side characters, I mean, not much, but I just like, it's kind of interesting to see them, but there was nothing much made out of them. Now, moving on to another thing that, okay, yeah, just where's my notes? Moving on to another thing that I didn't like in this movie, and those were the love interests. So we had, what's her name? Zori, yeah, the girl in the kind of cool red suit and helmet. She looks like a old, like 60s era, spaceman from like old movies. Or kind of reminds me of Tali Zora, which kind of funny, has a similar name as her, from Mass Effect. She also has like this kind of breathing actually, Talizora has like a breathing apparatus because she's an alien. She cannot breathe air, but this character doesn't have that problem. And actually, it was kind of cool because I noticed there was something strange about her voice. We didn't really see her face, just her eyes in one of the scenes. And I was like, I know that voice. I can't figure out, but I know that voice. And it was actually Kara Russell from The Americans. She was in the monkey movie. What's the name? Planet of the Apes movie. She's a really good actress. Americans, really great TV show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Kara Russell, yeah. And I'm kind of sad that we didn't really see her face on screen either. But I guess that was like a choice because, like, the outfit did really, and the helmet and everything did really look cool, so I'm not gonna be too sad about that. But what I don't like and what I didn't like about both of the love interests for Finn and Poe is that we didn't really feel anything like they didn't get a lot of character development. They were just like there, uh, especially Zori. Yeah, her name's Zori. Uh, she's kind of like a spurned love of Poe's from back when she was like a spice smuggler or something, and like she's mad at him at one in 1 second. She's mad at him, she wants to kill him, whatever, and then Ray kind of kicks her ass, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna help you. And that was kind of weird. I didn't like that, and it was just unnecessary to have a love interest for Poe here. But what's even worse is not Poe's love interest, but Finn's love interest, and her name is, I forget her name, Jenna. And it's kind of funny. I guess, I mean, it's funny because I think this character is mostly there because of the fans hated the Rose so much, and they had to, okay, we gotta have Finn's love interest. Ray's not gonna get with either Poe or Finn. She's gonna like have like this whole thing with Kylo Ren. So we gotta get Finn a love interest, and then they got this girl. She seems pretty cool, but there was not much time with her either. Like if she had been introduced in the first or second movie at least, and then we had like a more of a story development, it would have been pretty cool. But here we just have like one scene where they talk about how they were both previously stormtroopers, and yeah, that's it. Nothing much. They had like a couple of action scenes together, and that's it. So yeah, if she had been introduced earlier in the one of the previous movies, and they had like more of a story arc, that would have been cool. But I'm not a huge fan of this introduction. Then what do we have? Main characters, yeah, Finn and Poe. I mean, actually, Finn and Poe were pretty boring. Like actually, Finn didn't have much of a story arc. Poe had this kind of like remnant of the previous movie where he is kind of struggling with the problems of taking command. And okay, let's turn this off and like Poe. Yeah, so Poe had this issue of like how to take command, how to be a good leader, stuff like that, but it wasn't developed that much. So nothing was really developed in this movie, and that's why I mean, it was fun, it was interesting, I enjoyed the movie, but I didn't get any character build up at all from any of the characters. And like Poe and Finn are kind of basically squabbling and fighting each other. Okay, let's move Finn. What did I move? No. Poe and Finn are just fighting each other and squabbling and stuff, and basically not much happened between them. Finally, they kind of realize, or Lando gives them some kind of advice. Oh, you guys should work together. We could never do it, but we relied on each other. And then they said, oh yeah, I need your help. We're both generals. Blah blah blah. Whatever. It was kind of like a whatever ending with those two. And then we had, of course, Kylo Ren and Rey. They were also like okay. The relationship was okay. That was the main focus of the movie. It was more developed than the others. Basically, Rey was struggling with a lot of her doubts, fears. That happened in the previous movie as well. She did have issues, and this only intensified during this movie. Her anger was taking over, especially in connection to Kylo Ren, and she was like cutting down those trees, hurting people she cared about. First BB-8 when the tree fell on him. She was careless, and then after that, Chewbacca. And the Chewbacca thing really bothered me. If they would have wanted to make a good movie, they should have killed Chewbacca. Chewbacca should be dead, because that would have made a huge impact on Rey. That would have made the struggle to actually, give in to the dark side when she faces the Emperor. She had killed Chewbacca. She knows she killed Chewbacca. She feels like this, this terrible, similar things with Ben when he turned on his master and everything. So it would have been much more of an impact if the Chewbacca was actually dead, and not just, oh, he kind of died, but actually he was in a different transport. It was kind of a cop out. I didn't like that. It would have hit much harder, and her issues would have been much more intensified if Chewbacca died. I think it would have been better for the story this way. I wasn't like a huge fan. I think the writers really took the easy way out on that. Kylo's kind of transformation to the light side. I mean, I know he always had doubts. He was always like, he was always unsure what to do. He was raging because of his, like, I guess because of his conflict. He lashed out. He destroyed stuff. He did all of that. So basically, maybe he was always in some kind of conflict. And yeah, like talking to Harrison Ford or Han Solo, his dad, blah blah blah. I don't know. I didn't like. I mean, it was okay, but I didn't really feel like his conversion to his redemption was totally deserved. I mean, yeah, he did have, like, through Rey, maybe kind of it was deserved, but yeah, I wasn't like a big fan of his conversion. And finally, the most important thing in this movie, since Chewbacca stayed alive, the most important thing in this movie was that Chewbacca got his medal. Finally, guys, Chewbacca got the medal. So yeah, that was it. Those were my thoughts about this movie. It was okay. I enjoyed it. There were issues, there were problems with it, but overall, I didn't have huge expectations, and I wasn't disappointed. So yeah, that were my thoughts on it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitch, where I play video games. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, and I'm gonna leave the link to the podcast that hopefully we're gonna restart, me and my friend Becky. Yeah, that's it. Twitter, I'm like all the links are gonna be in the description down below. Thank you for watching and hanging out and hearing my thoughts on the Star Wars last movie. Was it the last? Whatever. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.